During the month of April, we are talking about the power of positivity and cultivating a true and genuine positivity practice for our lives. We've been talking about it all month. So if you want more on this, you can go ahead and look at my page and rather my channel and look back at some of the other videos that I have posted. This week in particular, we're going to be talking about thinking before we speak. Yeah, because a big part of the positivity practice is the self-awareness, capturing our thoughts, and then really allowing ourselves to kind of process that thing, whatever that is, before words leave our mouth, because our words create our lives. Our words dictate our actions. Our words solidify our decisions, right? So we have to be really aware of the words that we're using. I remember about a decade ago, someone said, before you say anything, ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And that was really powerful. And that was really difficult for me at that time, because although it was always going to be true, it was not always necessary. And I'm going to talk a little more about that. And then, is it kind? Is what I'm saying to myself or to someone else also kind, right? And so these things apply to both yourself when you're talking to yourself and when you're talking to other people. And it's a huge part of the positivity practice, because we spend so much time communicating through words, right? Whether it's on a text or an email or speaking to each other, we spend so much of our time and energy communicating through words. So really thinking before we speak has a huge impact on our positivity practice. Now, this more recently, in the past couple of years, I found another acrostic, and it's the word think, and it says think before you speak. And the T stands for true, the H stands for helpful, the I stands for inspiring, the N stands for necessary, and the K stands for kind. So let's take it from the top. Is it true? Is what I'm about to say to myself or to someone else truthful? Is it true? Not, is this some scenario that I created in my head and some crazy ass story that I made up, or some expectations that aren't real, right? Not that. This is why self-awareness is important, so we can recognize when we're doing that. Is it true? Is it a truth that is mine? Is it factual? Is it something that I know to be real, right? If it's not, just pump the brakes and stop right there, zip your lip and take it someplace else. This is a great opportunity for us to check ourselves and to say like, oh, that's what I was about to say isn't even true. That's from a story that I made up in my head, right? And I'm kind of laughing about it, but I remember I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she was telling me how she created this whole story and she was mad about this story. And then it took her a while, but when she realized like that's not even true, oh, so much freedom. So that's a really great place to start. Is it true? That's it. Is it true? Is it truth about you? Is it true about the situation? Is it true, or is it something that you made up? Is it an assumption that you're making up, right? Like, check yourself. Okay, the second one is this helpful? This acrostic was much better for me than just the true, necessary, kind, because there were times that I would tell somebody something very truthful, and I felt like it was necessary for them to hear it. And I would convince myself that it was a kindness when I was telling them about themselves. But I was not being helpful, not in any way, shape, or form. There was no space that I was providing in my delivery for them to have growth, for them to have the opportunity to expand, right? That did not exist. I was mad, my ego was bruised, and so I was attacking with my words. My ego was coming after yours, right? And so we want to keep that in mind too. Is this thing that I'm about to say, is this helpful to myself when I'm speaking to myself? Is this helpful when I'm speaking to the other person? If not, it gives us the opportunity to check in with our intent. What is the intent there? And if it's because we do have a bruised ego, you need to go, and this is what I would say to myself, it's time for me to go over here in the corner and lick my wounds, because this is my ego. Gross. This is not my spirit. This is not my true self. This is me letting myself get caught up in my feelings, and feelings are temporary. If we made long-term decisions based on temporary feelings, woo! A lot of people make long-term decisions based on temporary feelings, and then they get to a point where they are like, woo! Right? So this is a great way to eliminate a lot of that. Okay, the next one is it inspiring? Am I, again, providing room for growth? Am I trying to motivate, inspire, encourage, empower with my words to myself and to other people, right? It's a great, not everything needs to be like all fluffy, woo-woo, inspiring, but there should be a space there for growth. There should be a space there for next level, like leveling up, right? All right. And then the next one is it necessary? Is what I'm about to say actually necessary? And this is really important. At least it was for me, because I found that sometimes I wanted to share things with other people because in my sharing, I was hoping that they would understand me, which isn't always possible, if at all. Because we want a lot of people to understand us. Like, they just don't understand me. I'm trying to get them to understand me. How can they truly, fully understand you? They have not lived your life, had your experiences, seen life through your filters, had your adventures. They cannot truly and fully understand you. They could try. They can ask questions. They can be willing to have conversations. They can, open up their mindset and their perspective, but they cannot fully understand you. So we have to stop asking other people to fully understand us. So for me, it was like sometimes I would share something in a hopes that people would understand me. And then I realized like, oh, that's okay. You don't need to understand me. I understand me. And truly, I'm the only person who can, right? So it was no longer necessary for me to share some of those things. The other thing was, is it necessary? Meaning, is it necessary for me to keep beating this horse? It's already dead. Is it necessary for me to keep retelling this story? Whether to myself or to someone else? Is this necessary? Like, is this the story that I want to keep living? Is this the story that I want to keep speaking out loud, that I want to keep creating? Is it necessary in that way, right? And then finally, is it necessary? Like, am I looking for validation in some way? Because if I'm looking for validation from someone else, and again, that's not sustainable from another person. We might get it, here and there and every now and then, but to expect it all the time from someone else, that is not reality. So letting go of this idea that they can fully understand us, right? That they can validate us all the time, and whether or not that story is a story that we actually need to be repeating. Is it necessary? And then the last one is it kind? Am I speaking from a place of love to myself and to other people? And if we go down this list and we allow ourselves to check yes, then by all means, proceed. And if we're answering no, then this really gives us an opportunity to step back and find a way to reframe it with love. And if we can't, yet another opportunity has arisen. Is that a word? Yeah. That allows us to really access, where is this judgment, this criticism, this bruised ego, this need for gossip? Where is this coming from? And then, like, how do I process and deal with that? So think before we speak. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? I don't know who made it up, but it's brilliant. And if you know who it is, let me know in the comments, because I want to give them credit. But it's brilliant. And imagine if we really did spend more time thinking before we spoke. Imagine how different our lives would be. Imagine how different the world would be. Now, let's stop imagining and let's create it. Let's create it by taking responsibility ourselves to think before we speak and to move forward from that place, and stop asking other people to be different when we ourselves have the capacity to create the change and to be different ourselves, to lead by example, to create ripple effects and vibrations of love here first. Then we're no longer asking other people to do it, because we're doing it. Like, I don't need you to do it. I'm doing it. Now, you either join me or you don't, but this is where I'm at, right? Oh, yes, cultivating that positivity practice. So if you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you know someone who can benefit from it, please share it. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and let yourself go through this end of this month and move into next month and create this kind of premise for yourself, this intention for yourself to think before you speak to yourself or other people. Magic, super sparkly everything. And like Aretha Franklin said, you better think. Think about what you're trying to do to me. Think. Let your mind go and let yourself be free. Come on, freedom. Oh yeah, it's freedom. It's freedom. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Peace.